So I'm watching episode 5 of The Last of Us Season 2, slumped in my chair, bored almost to sleep by a show I am completely checked out of, and my wife walks into my study and asks, "What the hell are you watching?" "The Last of Us," I reply, to which she responds, "Oh, I thought you were watching a YouTube video of a 12-year-old girl continuously talking." Episode 5 of The Last of Us Season 2 is perhaps the worst written episode of a TV series I have seen this year. The opening scene alone could be used as a textbook example of how not to open an episode of a series, or indeed any piece of media. Two strong female characters, Beverly from Hannibal and Commander Midge, sit in an office having a boring, static conversation with one another about an operation that went badly because the personnel involved came across fungal spores and got infected. None of this is shown, all of it is exposited over the course of a 4-minute conversation. Two almost identical characters the audience has never seen before, talking harmoniously about characters the audience has never heard of. None of these characters will have any dramatic, thematic, world-building, or narrative impact on the episode or the show at all. The only useful thing this intro does is inform the viewer that the fungal infection is now airborne. To demonstrate how bizarre and jarring this is, I'm going to use the intro blueprint from The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 5 to create an intro to a popular 90s TV show. "Oh dude, did you hear? Stevie totally fucked Belle."
"Belle? Who's that?"
"The chick who looks like a potato."
"Oh dude, well he's Irish, so I guess it makes sense."
"Bruh. Dude, so I got this great idea. I'm gonna get a potato and draw a face on it and tape it to his locker and write the words potato dick under it."
"Oh dude, yeah."
"Yeah." Now you may respond,
"But glorious, benevolent, and all-knowing despot, most episodes of The Last of Us start with a mini-story disconnected from the rest of the plot. How is this one any different?"
Well, this one is different for the simple reason that it is vastly inferior. This is, by far, the worst mini-story opening The Last of Us has yet produced. The problems are that there is no context to relate who these women are. It would be far better to communicate the one useful piece of information expounded in their conversation through action. Beverly's story contains plot holes and portrays the organization she belongs to as a pack of ludicrously incompetent morons. There's also character dissonance. The show wants us to be really impressed with just how boss level Commander Midge is, but accidentally portrays her as an idiot by having her make some horrific decisions. So let's go through those issues one by one. Firstly, who are these women? Well, we don't know, and there is nothing in this miserable office to indicate who they are, so the show shoehorns in some absolutely clanking dramatic beats to announce their respective positions and what their relationship is to one another. Here's the first of these clankers. Did you see the way she shoved those doors open and marched in, impressing everyone in her orbit with her gravitas? She must be the woman in charge, because how could anyone but the commander walk with such awesome charisma? I am so fucking tired of this trope. Actresses trying to do gravitas by giving a cartoonish impression of charismatic male actors. In the 10 years this trope has been going, I have never once seen an actress successfully pull off gravitas. Every single time the 1,000-yard stare becomes the try-hard stare. This is what real gravitas looks like.
Beer.
This is what an actress imitating gravitas looks like. Here's the second clanker.
What happened?
My unit is responsible for
Securing the hospital. I know your orders. I gave them the lease. What happened?
Beverly is trying to relate the story, but gets interrupted by the person who asked for the story because the script wants to let everyone know that Midge runs this operation. This is hammy, awful writing. There are far better ways to communicate that Midge is Beverly's commanding officer here. For example, "Why didn't you confirm your order with me before you sealed up the lower floors?" "We didn't have time. It was do or die." There. That's it. Now we know that Mighty Midge is Beverly's superior. We don't need the clank spectacular line.
I know your orders, I gave them.
Compare this opening with the mini-story used to open season 1. Two epidemiologists are on an old talk show sharing their thoughts about potential future pandemics.
Dr. Newman, you're also an epidemiologist. I presume the prospect of a viral pandemic keeps you up at night as well.
No.
The identity of the characters are communicated naturally over the course of the conversation. John Hannah doesn't need to turn to the host and say, "Sorry, Dean, I hate to interrupt the host on his own show, but as an epidemiologist, I feel uniquely qualified to respond to the statements of my colleague Dr. Lurch, who is also an epidemiologist." The second problem with the Commander Midge and Beverly opening is that it's completely unnecessary. We don't need these two women to expound all this. The intro could show the essentials of what is being described in less time than it takes to describe them. The show don't tell rule is an annoying pop writing cliche, the kind of crap you'll come across on every 10 tips to improve your writing blog post ever vomited out of Tumblr. If that rule were followed to the letter, movies would all be 4-hour-long slogathons. Not everything can be shown. Some information has to be exposited, and that's fine. A better guideline would be, don't tell when showing is better. Here's a random example from a movie I watched recently.
Talk about weird.
Talk about weird. Well, I get dizzy spells, nausea, cold sweats, hot sweats.
In this movie, What About Bob? We learn about Bob's various problems through a variety of show and tell. We see him use a tissue to open doors and shake hands. We see his fear of elevators, and he tells Richard Dreyfuss some more of his problems in a therapy session. This is a nice mixture of show and tell. In the therapy session, Bob talks about his divorce.
Maybe I didn't leave her because she likes Neil Diamond, but maybe she left me.
Yes.
Would the movie really be improved by showing every single one of Bob's phobias and a flashback to his divorce? Better to just find a good balance of show and tell and get on with the story. In The Last of Us Midge and Beverly intro, the scene is all tell and no show. The scene only needs to do two things: communicate the existence of airborne cordyceps and set up the Lost Squad plotline, which will be paid off when Ellie enters the basement later and sees the infected trapped against the wall breathing cordyceps. The scene achieves this by having two women talk in a room for 4 minutes. This is bad and incorrect. So let's rewrite this scene to make it watchable. Karen iPhone.
Aiden, we need you to check out B2 at the hospital. We sent in a scout and haven't heard back from her. Do a quick recon and get out of there. Nothing fancy.
Cut to Aiden sneaking through the hospital basement. He turns a corner and comes across something. We don't see what he's looking at, but he's visibly terrified. Aiden bolts. By the time he makes it back to the ground floor, he's out of breath and rasping horribly. "It's in the air!" He screams, almost deliriously. "Seal the fucking basement!" They seal the basement and put Aiden in quarantine. A soldier pulls out his radio and says, "Get down here." Cut to Beverly in tears outside the quarantine room. Midge the Menacing marches in. She looks through the door at Aiden. He's already turning. Midge the Merciless marches in, puts a gun against his head, and...
I'm sorry about your son.
Or we could have two women sitting in a corporate cubicle boring me to tears for 4 interminable minutes. Another problem with this intro is plot holes in Beverly's story. Her squad clears the entire hospital of infected from ground level to the roof, but save the basement for last because that's where the infected like to hang out, and the difficulty setting is likely much higher down there. Why do the WLF not send a scout into the basement? Someone small, sneaky, and fast. He, or more likely knowing this show, she can scout each floor, report back, and then a tactical team can move in. Sending an entire squad in blind is stupid to the point of absurdity. This is year 20 of the apocalypse. These are survivors. They should have extensive experience at clearing buildings. They should know well by now the perils of operating without proper intelligence. Then Beverly says this.
I knew it wasn't an advance or we would have all been infected weeks ago.
No. No, you don't. You know it isn't in the vents yet. This is the first time you've come into contact with airborne cordyceps. You don't know the first fucking thing about them. This is a fungus. It grows very quickly. The priority must be to evacuate all personnel from the hospital immediately, then launch a well-planned operation to eradicate the fungus from the hospital basement with proper fucking reconnaissance this time. So Midge jumps out of her chair and shouts, "Are you out of your fucking mind, Beverly? There's a giant fungus producing airborne cordyceps at the bottom of this building and you haven't ordered an evacuation yet? And why didn't you do any recon on the basement? You're under arrest for dereliction of duty. You will be court-martialed. If you're not executed, you will never hold a position of command again. Now get the fuck out of here." Then Midge smashes the alarm and everybody runs out of the giant death trap. Wait, no, actually this happens.
As far as I'm concerned, Sergeant Park, you resolved the situation permanently and heroically. We owe you a debt.
Then Midge orders a cover-up.
I'll inform only the people who absolutely need to know and no one else.
This is where the plot really comes apart at the seams. Let's go back to the start of the episode and count how many people witnessed the barricading of the hospital basement following the discovery of airborne cordyceps. Karen iPhone, bit of music, love. This is a YouTube video, not a zombie apocalypse.
Slowly learning that life is okay.
Not fucking that! Okay, at least 20 witnesses, plus the men who put up the barricades, plus anyone involved in the operation, reserve unit, support staff, surgeons, logistics, communications. Then there's the friends and families of the dead who will want to know what happened, and they won't buy the bullshit narrative that, oh well, you know, zombies and shit. This is uncover-upable. There is no mainstream media to spin the narrative that it wasn't cordyceps. Word is already out. Everyone in the community already knows the hospital is compromised. And why does Midge refer to the hospital as a vital resource?
The hospital's a resource we can't afford to lose.
It's a building! There are lots of buildings you can use as hospitals nearby. Even in the most dire emergency, you're not going to have more than a few dozen patients in a single day. Just move the essential equipment into a school or an old mall. There, done. Now you don't need to keep a genuinely vital resource, trained medical staff, one floor away from a fucking airborne fungus that will turn them into murderous fungus zombies. You shit for brains wank-tard. Not incidentally, they need to move to another building anyway because, as Beverly literally points out, all the stairways to the basement have collapsed. This means that the hospital is structurally unsound. So Beverly is an operationally illiterate moron who doesn't understand that fungus grows, and Commander Midge is criminally incompetent. This is why you don't allow women positions of leadership in the zombie apocalypse. The Last of Us Season 2 might be stuck in 2020, flying sexual identitarian flags and fronting the show with two boring as fuck teenage girls, but at least Neil Druckmann can admit that when humanity is fighting for survival, men should be in charge. Based take, Neil. And on the subject of the teenage girls, the day that a girl who looks like Dina elects to get finger banged by that lesbian potato, Marilyn Monroe will be getting skull fucked by Elton John in a ski resort in hell.
I'm gonna be a dad.
The Midge and Beverly scene is a textbook example of idiot writers trying desperately to present women as strong, capable military leaders and accidentally portraying them as blundering incompetents because the writers don't know anything about military tactics, strategy, or history and couldn't be bothered researching it. The most infamous example of this is Admiral Holdo from The Last Jedi, who is presented as tough, in charge, and on top of things, when in fact she is an appalling leader who demoralizes her crew and fails to communicate even basic information to subordinates who need that information. Come to think of it, she actually has a lot in common with Midge. Following the intro, the episode presents Ellie and Dina having an amicable chat and swapping some basic info.
Lights. Oh, good. They have a big ass generator down there. Natural gas, baby. Figured out yet?
Getting there.
This scene demonstrates clearly the main reason why pairing Ellie and Dina was such a dramatically disastrous decision. They have the exact same personality. They have the same worldview and moral values, the same annoying millennial speech patterns.
Oh my god, are you gonna fucking tell me?
For the record, I don't believe you.
I'm gonna leave you alone now and go and explore the rest of this place because you're smart as fuck.
That door's open. And nothing's come out to kill us.
They're the same age, they're basically the same fucking character. The result is that they can't generate chemistry or conflict. They are excruciatingly boring together on screen. Let's examine how these almost identical characters interact. I did something good, Dina. That's good, Ellie. Ellie makes a joke. Dina jokes back. Ellie smiles. Dina smiles back. They chat. Dina smiles at Ellie. Ellie smiles back. The writer tries his best to generate something like conflict in the dialogue when Ellie asks to help, but it doesn't work because both characters are speaking in the same millennial, inoffensive, quippy, jokey manner.
Why? Because I'm stupid?
That's not the word I would use.
Really? What word then?
Non-school oriented.
Imagine how early season 1 Joel might react here.
Can I help?
No, you can shut up and stop distracting me. I gotta get this done and I don't got all day. Get out.
Now, we have character conflict, and we have a personality clash. Ellie is playful and scatterbrained, Joel is pragmatic, stern, and impatient. But with Dina and Ellie, hey, let's play! Yeah, let's play! This is the main reason why the audience ratings and viewership for The Last of Us are cratering. The Ellie-Dina pairing is the rotten cancer at the heart of this season of television. We don't even need Joel to pair up with Ellie. Any character who is significantly different to Ellie will do. How about this? Ellie wants to go on a revenge mission to Seattle with Dina, but Dina says, no, I can't, I'm pregnant, but don't worry, Spicoli's gonna do it. Spicoli? Protests Ellie, but that guy's a total stoner. Yeah, but he's reliable and he always gets the job done. Plus, he owes me a favour. So Ellie heads out with Spicoli, and instead of two little girls playing around like they're at a sleepover, the scene now looks like this. Are you fucking kidding me, Spicoli? What are you doing? You're supposed to be like triangulating or whatever?
You know, we could die any day, Ellie. Sometimes it's important to just take a break and enjoy life, man.
I'll enjoy life when Abby isn't fucking breathing anymore. Now get your ass up and do your fucking job.
See, Ellie, that's your problem, man, with this whole, revenge thing. I mean, it's like Gandhi said, an eye for an eye leaves us all fucked up and shit. This revision is good and correct. For an excellent example of how to do a screen duo right, watch Shogun. John Blackthorne and Mariko are different in almost everything. They are from profoundly different cultures. Mariko is Catholic, Blackthorne is Protestant and hates Catholics. Mariko is from an honor culture in which the rights of the individual are abrogated to the honor of the clan to which that person belongs. This is emphasized when a baby is murdered because his father dishonored the family's daimyo. Blackthorne considers this callous honor culture to be barbaric. Mariko is polite and refined. Blackthorne is rude and coarse. Mariko is disgusted by Blackthorne's hygiene and eating habits, though both improve considerably over the course of the season. But both characters also share common traits which draw them together. Both are intensely loyal. Blackthorne to England, Mariko to Lord Toranaga. Both are intelligent and talented. Both are rebels. Mariko is in rebellion against her husband, and Blackthorne is in rebellion against a society which he regards as cruel and unjust. Both follow a strict code of honor. Both are excellent at their job. Both have moments of excellence in which their positive traits shine through. Blackthorne leads an endangered vessel through a storm. Mariko politically outmaneuvers Lord Ishido, forcing him to choose between appearing weak or appearing tyrannical. Blackthorne and Mariko have enough in common that they have a fundamental understanding of each other, but they are different enough to create extensive dramatic tension and conflict. This character dynamic forms the basis of a relationship which blossoms naturally and believably into sexual attraction and a deep residing love. The actors Anna Sawai and Cosmo Jarvis also generate palpable sexual chemistry, so when Blackthorne and Mariko do finally have sex, it feels like the breaking of a tension that has built up. Potato Lady and Fashion Model have no sexual chemistry, and when they fuck, it feels about as earned as Jaden Smith's acting career. You're wrong!
By the way, Hiroyuki Sanada's performance as Lord Toranaga in Shogun is a superb example of what real gravitas looks like on screen.
Well, I know your orders I gave them.
After the intense Ellie Dina scene in the theatre, the script decides that the audience needs a breather, so it conjures a stage full of musical equipment that no one has touched for 20 years, the reason being that if this equipment had been scavenged, the scene couldn't happen. I will give The Last of Us Season 2 credit for upping the scare factor. When Ellie picked up that guitar, I was fucking terrified that she would sing another song the whole way through. Fortunately, she only plays one phrase, which is still one too many, but a massive improvement on. And now we get to the 12-year-old girl talking ad nauseum element of the show. Ellie and Dina are walking through an extremely dense, overgrown urban ruin in an area where they were almost killed by a horde of infected the previous night. And what's on their mind?
If it's a girl, Ellie. If it's a boy,
fucking baby names. This kind of casual conversation makes sense in a wide open area where you can literally see a threat coming from a mile away, but this is an urban jungle. They need to shut the fuck up and keep every one of their senses trained on the environment around them. The behavior of Ellie and Dina here smashes the verisimilitude of this post-zombie apocalypse world build. In plot contrivance number 1, Ellie and Dina quickly come upon a pile of corpses that have been conveniently left a minute's walk from where they were staying, so the show can build up its scars versus wolves subplot. Dina responds to the sight of a pile of corpses located a stone's throw from a building housing a horde of infected by walking briskly, bolt upright through the middle of the street, speaking loudly and continuously. And look at Ellie here. The entire time she's either looking at the ground or looking at Dina, not keeping her eyes trained on the dense surroundings, looking out for infected or scars or wolves, all of whom will kill Dina and Ellie on sight. Then, in the middle of this urban hellscape infested with enemies, the girls stop and look in each other's eyes so they can have an intimate moment. This is probably some combination of bad directing and bad acting from Bella Ramsey. Compare how Bella Ramsey acts here,
I don't know, Raiders?
to how Pedro Pascal acts in this scene from season 1.
Yeah.
You get him?
No, I missed 2.
Pedro Pascal is actually inhabiting the world of his character. He's sharp-eyed and on edge, always on the lookout for threats. Bella Ramsey, yeah, she just stares at the ground. And don't worry, we're going to examine Bella Ramsey's acting in more detail later in the video. Compare how Dina and Ellie behave here to how the lead characters behave in a similar scene in 28 Days Later.
But it's the most direct route to the other side of the river.
No. Then we should take the indirect route, the one that's in broad daylight and that's not underground. Let's just get it done.
When they come across an urban bottleneck, they know that traveling through it poses a risk so massive as to render the way effectively unpassable. But Ellie and Dina, nah, it's fine, just walk through and make sure to keep the chitter chatter going so as to keep from getting bored. You know what? I'm gonna try this in Dying Light 2. Let's see how long I last. Karen, iPhone, start the clock. So it's the morning after, and I wake up next to this girl I pulled the previous night. I'm not gonna lie, she was rough. This was not my finest hour. What do you expect, man? I was fucking drunk. And don't act like you haven't done a bit of dumpster diving in your day. We've all been there, man. I'm alright, boys! But look, whatever, it doesn't matter. So the girl gets a call, and she's hungover, you know. So
But one day I just fucking did. And I had a gun, so who's gonna fuck with me?
okay, I can't. I have to fix this scene. Karen, iPhone, roll it.
Now you already know how this story ends because I don't have Santa Fe anymore. And I don't have a mom or sister anymore. Since everyone's passed, I heard everyone.
There. Now we don't have to endure any more scenes in which Dina and Ellie swap annoying quips.
Because you're smart as fuck.
And I had a gun, so who's gonna fuck with me?
Also, instead of the show swifting narrative perspective to show events from Abby's point of view, it shifts to show events from a new super zombie's point of view as it jumps across rooftops and roams the streets, massacring everyone it comes across. And that's it, that's the show. Sounds good to me. Instead of intros where criminally incompetent women talk for 5 minutes, we can have this. The Last of Us Season 2 uses infected as a plot device and massively reduces their threat level so that they only pose a risk in large numbers. This is how clickers were portrayed in Season 1. This is how they are portrayed in Season 2.
A couple clickers, we can handle that. We've done it like a million times. Yeah.
According to the world build of Season 1, the presence of 2 clickers should make the area they patrol a no-go zone. Instead, clickers are brushed aside as barely an inconvenience. Earlier in the season, we see Ellie and Dina excitedly hunting clickers for sport. This has the effect of rendering the world less threatening and therefore more boring. And Season 2 doesn't even follow its own established rules for how characters interact with the threat of infected. This is how Dina and Ellie behave when they are trying to take down a clicker in episode 1. This is how they behave when trying to take down a smart one in episode 5.
Fucker's gonna try to flank us, so I say we flank it first.
Why have they abandoned the use of sign language when faced with an even greater threat? Not only is The Last of Us Season 2 inconsistent with Season 1, it is inconsistent with itself. Apart from being nerfed, the infected are used as a plot device to bail Ellie and Dina out of life-threatening situations. On their journey to Seattle, Dina and Ellie have no dangerous encounters with infected. The first major encounter occurs, conveniently, when they are trapped in the subway as a WLF squad closes in. The infected dutifully appear, slaughter the WLF soldiers, and Ellie and Dina escape to a movie theatre across the road. The infected do not pursue them, and they have no presence in the theatre because the script no longer requires them. The WLF do not send any additional soldiers to the area where they just lost a squad because that would interrupt the script's desire for Ellie and Dina to get some finger bang action on the go.
I'm gonna finger bang bang you into my life. Girl, you like to finger bang and it's alright.
Before Ellie and Dina head off to brush aside those pesky clickers, they take a moment to relate their mutual love.
That's one of the reasons I love you.
You love me?
Oh, I know.
This little exchange neutralizes any tension the scene could have. Ellie and Dina are about to enter a potentially fatal encounter with fucking clickers. This scene should be brimming with tension, but it isn't, because the show is more interested in a contrived lesbian romance characterized by millennial bonding. In plot contrivance number 2, Jesse Deus Ex Machina's Ellie and Dina, because these girls have enough plot armor to encase the Death Star. And why haven't the WLF cleared this building of infected? As the script itself points out,
Wolves are right next door with their vehicles and lights.
The WLF is right next door. Why haven't they secured this building? Again, these are supposed to be veterans of a zombie apocalypse. Why are they so shockingly incompetent? Clearing buildings would be established protocol, something like a 5-step operation: reconnaissance, planning, attack, final sweep for stray infected, barricade all entrances that can't be guarded. Every building within a set perimeter of headquarters would have to be cleared, but this building right next door to WLF headquarters is filled with infected because the script needs them to be filled with infected so the scene can happen. Also, how did Jesse make it to Ellie and Dina's location with no hassle from any of the many threats in the area? Ellie and Dina activated a horde of infected and attention from the WLF along their route. Anyone following along that same route would almost certainly be killed or captured. And how was Dina so fucking stupid to leave her map on the table back at the movie theatre? Jesse says that's how he found them. She's smart enough to triangulate the position of the WLF patrols, but she's stupid enough to leave the fucking map sitting on the table. So the trio escape the building and are in trouble as the WLF pursues them. Fortunately, Jesse somehow knows the area.
The park! We can lose them in there!
Also, fortunately, the gate to this park has been left wide open, despite the obvious dangers that infected could pour through it. Also, fortunately, the WLF don't go into the park because reasons, which turn out to be that the park is occupied by the Scars, and by an astonishing coincidence, the trio arrive inside the park just as the Scars are about to murder some guy. Or maybe they triggered a cutscene after arriving at a checkpoint. Some guy is a WLF member, but the WLF aren't aren't out looking for him because the script doesn't want them to interrupt the ritual murder or to impede our heroic trio's escape. So the Scars discover the trio and start running after them, waving their torches in the night as they run around the park. Now, WLF snipers on any rooftop near the park should be able to see those torches from a mile off and either shoot the Scars or radio in their positions to a ground team. But as previously established, the WLF are complete morons, commanded by incompetent DEI hires, which is why they haven't covered up this giant fucking hole in the side of their headquarters. I mean, a Scar from the park could crawl in there and start killing people, but after Commander Midge saw the hole, she decided that
I'll inform only the people who absolutely need to know and no one else.
So I'm going to be calling this girl Edward Furlong because she reminds me of Edward Furlong in American History X. So when Edward Furlong starts running, why does they run toward the basement? They knows the layout of this hospital. They knows that the basement is infected with airborne cordyceps. Of the many directions Edward Furlong could run in, why does they run in the one direction that will almost certainly ensure their death? Okay, now we need to talk about Bella Ramsey's acting. The problem isn't that Bella Ramsey can't act, she can. It's that her range is far too limited. She's fine as long as the script calls for acting ranging in emotional intensity from 4 to 7, but anything above or below that and she's lost. Here is Bella Ramsey aiming for 2. Basically, the pre-volcanic don't fuck with me cause I'm a bomb ready to go off vibe. Here's an example of that acting beat nailed perfectly.
A lot faster than you'll ever live to be.
And here's Bella Ramsey attempting it.
Where's Abby?
Okay, Bella, that's great. Now we need menace. An 8 going on a 9. Think Clint Eastwood and Dirty Harry.
The girl, where is she?
Where is she?
Awesome, Bella. Now, let's bring that shit all the way up to 10. Intensity brimming with violent rage. Clint, show the girl how it's done.
Where's the girl?
Where is she?
By the time Bella Ramsey gets to an unconvincing 11...
Where is she?
She's already blowing the scene. By the way, the girl that played Edward Furlong, Tati Gabrielle, was great. She gave a terrific performance. This episode encapsulates every major problem with The Last of Us Season 2. Ellie and Dina are horrendous on screen together, which makes the decision to kill off Joel all the more glaringly disastrous. If a pharmaceutical company can figure out a way to distill the essence of Ellie and Dina's character dynamic into medicinal form, they will have created the world's most powerful sedative. The infected are nerfed and used as plot devices. The story is full of plot holes and plot contrivances. The world building is absolutely pathetic. The behavior of the characters shatters immersion. This isn't two survivors traversing a zombie-infested urban jungle filled with enemies. It's two actresses walking around a film set. These aren't two military leaders. There are a few ticked boxes on Warner's ESG report. This isn't a hole in the side of a building. It's a plot hole. The Last of Us Season 3 has been greenlit by Warner and is currently in pre-production. It is expected mid-2027. Season 3 will probably be a repeat of the Season 2 timeline told from Abby's perspective, which would be even worse than Season 2. Or Warner might watch this video, come to their senses, and go with the Despot's idea of making Season 3 about a super zombie running around slaughtering people. Whatever they go with, the Last of Us franchise is dead. A zombie franchise still ambling aimlessly on after the vast majority of fans have checked the fuck out. No one wants a third game, and after Season 2 of the TV series, no one wants a third season. The official, establishment-approved narrative on The Last of Us 2 is that the game was divisive, a controversial, indeed boundary-pushing, even radical title that divided the fanbase, often along ideological lines. What Season 2 of The Last of Us has proven definitively and beyond any doubt is that gamers and activists masquerading as gamers who defended The Last of Us 2 were wrong, and the haters were right, just as those who defended The Last Jedi were ultimately proven wrong, and those who hated that abomination were vindicated by many critics peeling away The Last Jedi's layers of awfulness and subsequent Lucasfilm projects made in the same vein as The Last Jedi.
The power of many.
Dad.
Now, before I present the bonus section to this video, the Despot wishes to thank the sponsor of today's video, the Despot. After 2.5 years of doing this part-time, the Despot is now a full-time YouTuber. Thank you to everyone who has watched, liked, commented, and subscribed for making this possible. If you want to support the channel further, please consider becoming a channel member. Now, on April 1st this year, I posted a video in which I expressed my excited anticipation of The Last of Us Season 2. I confess, my optimism proved misguided. Warner copyright claimed the video and rejected my fair use claim. So rather than let those bastards have a penny of my ad revenue, I burned that video to the ground. So, I have included the video here in full. Enjoy! I don't think I've mentioned this before on the channel, but I'm a huge fan of The Last of Us series. My favourite episode was the heart-melting episode 3, often derided as the gay episode by its homophobe critics. In the gay episode, a Nestor forms a relationship with a prepper. Then they have sex. Then they eat strawberries and laugh. Then Nestor gets sick, but before he dies, he and Prepper marry. Then our hero Nestor is euthanized, and our hero Prepper declares that he is going to commit suicide because he can't live without Nestor, and couldn't be bothered heading out into the world to see if there might be some good he could do for a struggling humanity. Then Joel finds a letter from our hero Prepper, which reads,
"I used to hate the world, and I was happy when everyone died."
The central themes of this beautiful love tale are, if you're sick, kill yourself. If you're sad, kill yourself. A man who celebrated the death of billions of children died, and you should be sad about that, but also inspired. Truly inspiring stuff. I also admire how this episode's core messages, the romanticization of sad and the pro-euthanasia messaging, are disguised behind pro-gay messaging. Those fucking MAGA chuds were so busy frothing at the mouth over some tasty man-on-man action that they completely missed the episode's real political agenda. Superb distraction tactics by the creators. With the benefit of hindsight, we can confidently say that everyone who dunked on the gay episode at the time must feel pretty stupid right now. I can't wait for The Last of Us Season 2. It's gonna be awesome. Bella Ramsey is amazing as Ellie, and it's always great to see Pedro Pascal get a chance to shine. We don't see nearly enough of that guy.